8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
D4, D5, E3, E6, F4, F5, Knight F3, Knight F6, Bishop D3, Bishop D6, Short Castle, Short Castle, H3, Bishop takes F4, C4, Bishop takes E3 check, Bishop takes E3, Knight E4, C takes D5, Knight G3. E3, D6, D4, E5. E4, D6, Bishop C4, E5, Queen F3, Knight F6, Queen H5, Knight takes H5, Knight F3, Knight F6, Short Castle, Bishop E6, Knight C3, Bishop takes C4, B3, Bishop E6, Knight G5, Knight C6, Knight takes E6, F takes E6, Knight D5, Bishop E7, Knight takes E7. D4, E5, E3, E takes D4, E takes D4, Knight F6, Knight F3, D5, Bishop E2, Knight C6, Short Castle, Bishop B4, Rook E1, Bishop takes E1, Queen takes E1, Short Castle, C3, Knight E4, Queen D2, Knight takes D2, Knight F takes D2, Queen G5, Knight F3, Queen takes C1 check, Bishop F1. D4, E6, E3, D6, F4, Bishop E7, Knight F3, Knight H6, Bishop D3, F5, Short Castle, Knight F7, H3, C5, Knight C3, C4, Bishop takes C4, Knight C6, Bishop D3, D5, E4. E4, D6, D3, E5, Knight D2, Knight F6, Knight Gf3, Bishop E7, Bishop E2, Short Castle, Short Castle, Bishop E6, Knight C4, Knight C6, Knight C takes E5, D takes E5, Knight takes E5. d4, e5, e3, e takes d4, e takes d4, d5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop e2, bishop g4, short castle, bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, queen g5, bishop takes g5, f6, knight f3, d6, e3, e5, bishop e2, knight f6, bishop f1, bishop e7, bishop e2, short castle, bishop f1, bishop e6, bishop e2, d4, d6, c4, e5, knight c3, e takes d4, queen takes d4, knight f6, queen d1, bishop e7, knight d5, short castle, knight takes e7 check, queen takes e7, knight f3, bishop e6, bishop g5, bishop takes c4, d4, d5, e3, knight c6, f4, knight takes d4, knight f3, bishop g4, e takes d4, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, e5, d takes e5, queen e7, knight c3, f6, bishop d2, e4, d6, bishop c4, e5, queen f3, queen e7, queen takes f7 check, queen takes f7, bishop takes f7 check, king takes f7, d3, knight f6, bishop g5, h6, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, f3, bishop e6, knight e2, knight c6, knight g3, king e7, knight f5 check, d4, c6, e3, queen a5 check, c3, queen c7, knight f3, queen takes h2, knight takes h2, h6, knight f3, h5, bishop e2, d5, knight bd2, bishop g4, knight b3, f6, bishop d2, a5, queen c2, d4, e5, e3, e takes d4, e takes d4, knight f6, knight f3, d6, bishop e2, bishop e7, short castle, h3, bishop g4, knight c3, knight c6, h takes g4, d4, d6, c4, e5, knight f3, e takes d4, knight c3, d takes c3, b takes c3, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, short castle, bishop e2, h6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, h4, bishop e6, d4, e5, e3, knight c6, f4, d5, f takes e5, bishop e6, knight f3, bishop e7, bishop d3, bishop g5, short castle, bishop e7, h3, knight h6, knight c3, short castle, bishop d2, knight f5, queen e2, g6, e4, knight g7, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, e4, d6, bishop c4, e5, queen h5, queen e7, queen takes f7 check, queen takes f7, bishop takes f7 check, king takes f7, h3, knight f6, h4, knight takes e4, h5, knight f6, h6, g6, rook h5, d4, d6, c4, e5, knight c3, e takes d4, queen takes d4, knight f6, queen d1, bishop e7, e3, short castle, bishop d3, bishop d7, knight ge2, knight c6, short castle, d5, knight d4, d4, knight f6, e3, knight g4, f4, knight f2, king takes f2, e6, knight f3, queen h4 check, knight takes h4, g5, knight f3, bishop g7, f takes g5, bishop f6, g takes f6, king f8, h3, rook g8, bishop d3, d5, rook g1, knight c6, king e2. White didn't move, black is victorious. d4, c6, e3, d5, f4, knight f6, knight f3, bishop g4, bishop d3, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, Knight bd7. e3. d6. d3. e5. d4. Knight f6. e4. E takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight c6. Queen d1. Knight takes e4. Knight f3. Knight f6. Bishop e2. Bishop e7. Short castle. Short castle. Rook e1. Bishop e6. Bishop d2. d4. c6. e3. d5. f4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop g4. Bishop d3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. e6. Short castle. c5. d takes c5. Bishop takes c5. f5. Short castle. F takes e6. F takes e6. Knight c3. d4. e6. e3. Bishop b4 check. c3. Bishop takes c3 check. B takes c3. Knight c6. Knight f3. Knight b4. C takes b4. c6. Bishop e2. Queen b6. Short castle. Queen takes b4. Knight bd2. Queen b6. Knight b3. d6. Bishop d2. e4. d6. Knight f3. e5. d3. Knight f6. Knight c3. Bishop e7. Bishop e3. Short castle. Bishop e2. Bishop e6. Short castle. Knight c6. d4. d6. Knight c3. e5. Bishop f4. E takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight f6. Queen d2. Bishop e7. Long castle. Short castle. Knight f3. Bishop e6. e4. Knight c6. Bishop d3. a6. d4. e5. e3. Knight f6. D takes e5. Bishop b4 check. c3. d5. E takes f6. G takes f6. C takes b4. d4. Knight f3. D takes e3. Queen takes d8 check. King takes d8. e4. d6. Knight c3. e5. d4. Knight f6. d5. Bishop e7. f4. Short castle. F takes e5. D takes e5. Knight f3. c6. Bishop e2. C takes d5. E takes d5. Queen d6. D4. C6. E3. D5. F4. Knight F6. Knight F3. Bishop G4. Bishop D3. Bishop takes F3. Queen takes F3. E6. Short castle. C5. D takes C5. Bishop takes C5. F5. Bishop takes E3 check. Bishop takes E3. Short castle. F takes E6. Knight F3. D6. G3. E5. Bishop G2. E4. Short castle. E takes F3. E takes F3. Knight F6. Rook E1 check. Bishop E7. D4. Short castle. C3. Bishop E6. Bishop E3. D5. Knight D2. Knight C6. D4. D5. E3. F5. F4. Bishop D7. Knight F3. E6. Bishop D3. Knight F6. Short castle. Bishop E7. H3. Knight C6. C4. Short castle. C takes D5. Knight takes D5. E4. F takes E4. Bishop takes E4. E4. D6. Bishop B5 check. C6. Queen E2. C takes B5. Queen D3. E5. Queen takes B5 check. Knight C6. Queen D3. Knight F6. Queen F3. Bishop E7. Queen E3. Short castle. Queen E2. Bishop G4. Queen E3. E4. B6. D4. Bishop B7. F3. D5. Bishop D3. E6. E5. C5. Knight C3. C4. Bishop E2. Bishop E7. Bishop E3. Bishop H4 check. D4. B6. E3. G6. F4. Bishop G7. Knight F3. Bishop B7. Bishop D3. D6. Short castle. Knight D7. E4. Bishop C6. D5. Bishop B7. Knight C3. Rook B8. Bishop D2. Knight Gf6. E5. Knight E4. Bishop takes E4. E4. D6. Knight F3. E5. D4. Knight F6. D takes E5. D takes E5. Queen takes D8 check. King takes D8. Knight takes E5. King E7. Knight takes F7. King takes F7. Bishop C4 check. Bishop e6. Knight c3. Bishop takes c4. Bishop d2. Knight c6. Long castle. Bishop d6. d4. d5. e3. Knight f6. f4. e6. Knight f3. c5. Bishop d3. c takes d4. e takes d4. e5. Short castle. e4. Bishop takes e4. d takes e4. Knight e5. Bishop d6. Knight c3. Short castle. Bishop e3. Rook e8. Queen d2. Knight bd7. Rook a c1. e3. d6. d4. e5. c4. e takes d4. e takes d4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop e2. Short castle. Short castle. Bishop d7. h3. d5. Rook e1. d takes c4. Bishop takes c4. c6. Queen e2. Rook e8.